Welcome back to the Big Brain Podcast, joined by myself, the Big Ronov, also known as Ben, and I'm joined by Sneaky Thief, also known as Shelving 76.
No, can we not do
also
the show?
known as the support player that doesn't support us.
Whoa,
also known as
Okay,
Sheldon, also known as Microwave. I don't know.
You really disappointed me with that one, actually. The microwave, the Shelving 76.
Oh, you're going to have to cut that swear word out. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, wait, which one?
I said the F word 10 seconds ago.
Oh, right.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, great. That's just going to be a little whatever. Anyways,
YouTube's going to assassinate you.
No. They're not going to assassinate. Not going to assassinate me. I'm going to be alive.
Speaking of assassination,
wow, you take my long thing. I have.
Gone.
Oh yeah, he's gone. We
don't know where he is actually. This time we have no idea.
I don't know. He was supposed to be here. He may be a bit late. He may not be able to join in time. I'm not too sure. So we're just going to have to go with it because we got the time to talk about one big thing. And now it's my turn to take the segue, guys. CGX, it's here. It's announced. It's live. Well, it's not live, but the closed beta is. We played it.
We did.
We played it.
We're special partners of Ubisoft, and they personally gave us closed exclusive beta keys.
Yes.
They came to our doorstep.
Yep.
And they said, please, give this a go.
They
knew. Was
knew.
like, I don't know. And they were like, no, please. It's like, all right then.
We had no choice. I mean, they understood the Big Brain Podcast. It's an up-and-coming podcast of the Rainbow Six Siege community.
Huge.
They just know.
We're actually topping the charts.
Damn, man. But I tell you what.
It didn't go like that at all.
No. we
didn't even play it on the first day. we couldn't.
No, we were watching a showcase. In fact, that's one of the first things we're going to talk about, which is the whole showcase, what they've announced. It's quite a big thing. For me, they've announced a lot, and I mean a lot of stuff. And a lot of it is I'm actually looking forward to. So, start with the big, stuff that we're going to get out of the way. Graphically, this game looks gorgeous. It just looks gorgeous. Oh, it's just
beautiful.
It's bellissimo.
Yeah. And we will dive into a bit more later on with the graphics and whatnot.
Yes, but we'll go over to the other stuff. So another stuff is obviously the sound has been also overhauled. I will definitely get into that later. This is just a rundown of the stuff. So we've got sound overhaul, we've got graphics overhaul, we've got a new pick and ban system, which I'll get to in a bit.
We'll dive into each.
We got a new
separately,
6v6 mode called Dual Front. We've also got what else? Because there's quite a lot that they do. Advanced repelling and a slight update to the movement system in the game, which I was quite happy to see. We've also seen weapon inspects. Oh my god!
Oh yeah!
I can do great thumbnails now. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. Thank you. Love it. And I can see my guns in all its glory. Moving on, we've also got a couple of accessibility options that they didn't really announce in the showcase, but mainly, the dual front mode that they're going to go for, the graphics updates, the sound updates. Those are the things that come off to my mind. There's a couple other things that we'll get into as we remember going for, but the showcase.
They're the main things you need to know, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, the showcase. Originally thought it was 3 hours long. It was only 2.
It was 2, but the streamers did an extra hour for themselves.
Yeah.
I'm a bit mixed on it because the showcase itself, like the stuff is good. I really, really like what they showcased. Could have been paced a bit better, I feel like. I feel like there was times where could have been paced a bit better.
Yeah, like we were talking about it live. So like we were actually streaming it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we sort of pointed out live. I can't remember what it was again. Oh yeah, it was becoming free to play. So CGX is going to be free to play.
That's it. That's the
and
thing.
They spoke about that. That was like the first main feature that they introduced, and they spoke about that for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
They moved on to what was it, UI?
UI, and they barely glossed over. They glossed over
quite
it.
A big thing, the UI, because it has changed a fair bit.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like, yeah, this is the UI.
Moving on.
And yeah, they're like, you can track your career now. Anyway, anti-cheat and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, like, at the end of the day, with the free-to-play aspect, I was a bit concerned and then they talked about how they was going to do this free to play. So for those that already own the game, you're not having to. Nothing's going to change. You still have the game as it is. You're unaffected. For those that want to get into the game, this will become free to play for up to a certain amount of modes. So all the way up to unranked. So unranked is returning. Standard is going to go, which is a big thumbs up in my opinion.
Is standard actually going?
Standard will be replaced by unranked. So,
okay.
Which, to be fair, it's nice. You get a ranked experience without unranked in the unranked.
I didn't mind standard, but it was just sort of unnecessarily changed.
Yeah, and this is where it's gone to now, where it's just gone back to unranked. Makes sense.
Perfect.
So you get up to that for free, and you get to play that for free, which I think is great. And they're doubling down on their Shield Guard, which is their initiative for their anti-cheat system. We'll come back to that in a bit. But essentially, if you want to play ranked, if you want to play Siege Cup, you got to buy the game and you got to be at level 50. That's brilliant. I like that. Because
I wonder
now
if there'll be a price change for that.
I think they will have a sale every now and then to get people into it.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, right, if it's free to play, the main core game, and you're essentially just paying for ranked,
I think
it can't be like
no, it
40,
won't.
50 quid, surely.
No, I think it'll be like 10 or 15 quid.
Yeah.
Something around.
Past. Like Red Dead does that. Red Dead 2. You can buy the main game, which comes with like story, multiplayer, like standard like £50-60. Or you can just buy the online part of Red Dead for like £15.
Yeah, I think that should be the way to go. Small little price that you got to pay if you want to get the full experience of Siege. But modes like Dual Front will be free to play, going up, like I said, all the way up to unranked. So people that want to get into the game, there is a barrier of entry going into it. But for now, it's just, I think for the people that like myself, like you, that want to keep the ranked experience being infested with more cheaters, this is the best decision that they could have gone with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we can.
Went blank. Sorry. Yeah.
No, that's fine. I think we can all personally agree on that. But that was one of the things. So going forward, there's a bit of a progression. So when you go through, you can actually have a clearer progression of what you unlock as a new player. So say you get to like level 5, you'll unlock a new mode, and you'll actually can see it in a career progression tab. And I think this will go up to level 50, like all the progression that you get until you get to rank, which I think is quite nice for new players to understand, get to bearings of what they can unlock, what they need to unlock. And I think what Ubisoft will do is they'll keep operator like packs. So if you want to like get access to these operators, because I think they'll have like base operators will be completely free. But if you want to have access to like the year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, all the years, you got to pay a certain price, which I think is fine. That's how
they used to do that back in the day. You remember you could buy like a whole year.
Yeah, you could.
You'd get, there was like a starter edition of Siege.
Oh,
it was like £10, but you'd get like 4 operators, I think.
And progression,
and you'd have to grind.
It was more of a grind. And then, whereas if you got the standard edition, there would be the XP you'd gain would be more, and you'd get access to operators out of the box, which makes
Starter was okay. I think it brought on a lot of new players. I actually think, obviously, I had the standard on console early days. I think when I moved over to PC, I was like, I don't want to pay bloody another like 20, 30, 40 quid again for Siege. I'll just get starter.
But then
I grinded to begin with. I grinded and I was like, what is the point? I found myself playing it a fair bit. I'm just going to get the normal version.
Yeah. Whereas I think if they do it right, I think this will be a nice blend into it. It'll be really, really good. I will say, though, when we get more players in, which will be great, the onboarding needs to be a bit better because I've just remembered one of the new features, which is actually quite important, is what they call destructible ingredients that are coming to the game. And this will add a layer of complexity. Ingredients. So there'll be an added layer of complexity to the game. And I think we had this conversation during the stream, which was, do you reckon it will get... do you reckon the skill floor will be getting higher and higher and the skill ceiling getting higher, or will onboarding newer players will be bits more straightforward? Because I have a feeling it's not going to be.
In terms of this new environmental sort of stuff, I think Yeah, we did talk about it live. Where my question was, how useful is this going to be? Like, these things need to be in good locations, and I think
Agree.
the only thing with being a new player to Siege is understanding choke points of the maps.
Yeah.
Where like attackers are going to be sort of holding doors and whatnot. That's where the pipes are going to be handy, where you can just shoot them and sort of stop them from pushing up. It adds that just bit of pressure as defense. So I don't think there'll be much in terms of learning how to use the environmental stuff.
It's just
quite
an actual layer of
just
complexity.
there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's quite obvious, like what will do what.
Yeah, I think that's the good thing about it.
One thing on this environmental stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things, so you've got like the gas pipes, you've got the fire extinguishers, but the metal detectors, I don't really understand.
Ah, right. So they're already in the game, the metal detectors, right? So
Yeah.
you couldn't do anything to them. You couldn't. They would just activate whenever you go through. You couldn't shoot them, blow them up. Now you can. So what I did was I picked. I think while I was playing Dual Front on my own in the closed beta, I used an Ash Charge. I just decided, okay, we'll see what happens, and I blew it up, and it stopped working. Like, it legit just stopped working. So now I could use that. Say, for example, I get it early on in the round, I destroy it, for example, or if, say, for example, you have one of the things I thought in my head is you have, like, say on border, you do a shotgun hole through to the metal detector, or do it from underneath. You literally can just then throw an impact EMP, have someone walk through, and they will be none the wiser.
But this is my point, right? So this is what I'm thinking. And Sid actually also raised this point when I showed her, is they will just hear that. Like,
that's true.
The process of destroying the metal detector to stop it making noise, you're also making noise.
That's true.
So it's like, what is the point?
I think this
like,
is more...
I can understand if you're going back and forth.
Yeah. I think this is more for, like, early round. If you get early round control and destroy the metal detectors, you take out a piece of sound call utility that you can't use throughout the rest of the game. It's more if you get it early, I think.
Yeah, I can understand maybe bank, the metal detector going into blue.
Yeah.
That would be quite handy.
You get rid of that.
There's
that's
a lot
huge.
of blue flanks. Yeah, a lot of blue flanks when you're pushing server. But if you're an attacker, you kind of want that metal detector.
Yeah, so for the defense, they'd prioritize destroying it, and then that could open up for different gameplay opportunities.
Because it does work both ways, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. And a lot of these objects will be working both ways. So when I was playing around with, like, the pipes, for example, you could use it in both an attack and a defensive ways. And I could definitely see certain, like, pipes when watching, like, the Clubhouse game being played during the showcase. And this is through the streamer's perspective, by the way. So when the live broadcast ended, I decided to watch a couple of streamers to see how they saw it. There were definitely, like, pipes that were made for more the attackers than the defenders. So it makes more sense for the defenders to just shoot them, so then they don't have to deal with it later down the line.
Yeah, there was one I saw. It was the one bedroom on Clubhouse, bedroom door, going into con. I can understand that would be quite handy for a defender.
That's very handy for
if you're holding cash and you swing like con, get that pipe, stop them from pushing through bedroom into con.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that being handy. Yeah, we'll just have to see. Like, obviously, we can't really test it because obviously Dual Front is just the district map.
Yeah.
You can't sort of test it in actual ranked environments or unranked. So, yeah, we'll just have to see with that. But yeah, metal detectors, interesting.
It's very interesting.
I just don't see it being useful.
Not the most useful out of the other two, in my opinion. The pipes are not very useful. The fire extinguisher, I think, is going to be the most useful. Like, that's basically poppable cover.
Just a free smoke. Yeah.
Free smoke grenade, and you can use that to go from, like, say, there's one definitely at the bottom of main stairs in Clubhouse, going to basement. You can literally use that to cross moto, and that's such a free thing for you. And say, for example, you want to cross from Armory into Church, again, you can use that to cross. It's just more handy to have.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be the most useful one. And they did say in the showcase that they will look into potentially adding more down the line. So I'd be very interested to see how they expand upon this. I think it's
here's a question then.
Go on.
What would you add as a new
Ooh.
destructible ingredient, what could you see?
Funny enough, I think I'd probably see something that would create like an EMP.
Okay.
So, for example, say there's like something that takes it and creates like an electromagnetic pulse. Then for attackers, that stops you from like potentially breaching. So you have to take care of that before you breach. Or for the defenders, it's like you lose like your gadget sight lines as well as your scopes, your reticle for your scopes. Just go. Something that would be quite interesting, I think. But that's me kind of stretching here because I feel like it's something that I wouldn't think of until it gets popped in and go, that makes sense why that should be in there. Like a fire extinguisher or a pipe. What about you?
As a creative genius, I've got many up my sleeve. Basically, I'm thinking, I literally just thought of this now, by the way. I didn't have this planned. Light, fuck it, I was trying to stop, sorry. Chandeliers on the ceiling, for like fancy maps. If you shoot them, it creates shattered glass on the floor. So that is an audio cue for when they walk over it.
That's actually smart.
I'm a genius.
I like that. No, that's actually that's a really good idea because then that adds extra. Because they did say in the showcase that they want to prioritize sound being your main like tool for stealth.
Yeah,
and I will say this, like I actually agree with that because sight has been a pain in the ass. One thing I will say to the viewers is that during the showcase, they actually showed off the outlines that will now be on the enemy teams. And this will be basically down to whatever color you set the enemy team to be. It's brilliant. I've used it in Deal Front. I can actually see people in the dark. And there are a couple of dark areas on the map. It actually is proper useful now. And I think solves the problem of like the Ember Eye skin and the other camouflage skins that we get in the game. It eliminates it nearly entirely. But
I need to see more of it because that teaser that they showed us with Border, like Ella being in that dark.
That was a poor example.
I couldn't see any difference. I couldn't. Yeah, no, she's actually kind of hidden here.
Playing Dual Front, I noticed it, and I was like, "Oh shit! Like this is actually a better feature to have in the game." There are things like this that make me go, "Oh, okay, this makes more sense to have in a game," and it doesn't ruin like my immersive feeling. It actually feels part of the game. Same with like how the lighting works. It allows them to have more creative freedom with how they want to take the art direction of a map without being hindered by, we got to make it competitively viable. You've now allowed it to still be competitively viable.
Well, yeah, that's been their core focus for quite a few years now. Like they've taken that dull sort of lighting away and that nice atmospheric lighting and bloom and whatnot. And obviously a lot of people didn't like the direction it was going with. A lot of people saying it's been like a sort of Fortnite gloss sort of art style. Where everything's just bright and saturated. But yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking the gritty sort of look, and we will talk about that a bit more.
Yes.
I love it. I just wanted to say as well, so chandeliers, brainstorming.
Yep.
Other glass objects, mirrors, windows, I don't know, just
anything
other ways to get glass in an area. Maybe like water. I think water would be a good sound cue. So breaking, like those water coolers.
Okay.
On bank and whatnot.
I think they'll have a bit more of I don't know, because I think glass will have a very distinctive sound cue. With water, it may, I don't know. Have to see how they design around it, but I get where you're going with this already. Anything that can create sound cues on the map that gives you more information.
Perfect. Yes.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Wonderful.
I was actually going to say, before we actually talk about the main showcase of the event, which was Dual Front, since you played the game CJX, I want to quickly talk to you about the sound, because I've looked through Reddit, and I've also listened to a couple of people on stream, and it's extremely interesting to hear that people are saying that the sound is actually terrible. I fully disagree. And again, I know because of my sound, I usually complain about sound in Siege. I've complained about it last podcast or the podcast before that one. The sound in Siege X, to me, is perfect. It is actually frighteningly good how much they've improved it. I want to see, have you felt the same way, or have you not, or do you feel like you need more time?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I need more time because I didn't see that much of a difference. I could tell there was something different about it. I didn't find it being useful to me though in dual front.
Okay.
There was one weird case where I was rappel on the side of a building, and sorry, Missy's going crazy right now. Hold on.
Oh, Missy's the dog, by the way, everybody. It's a beautiful dog. It's a beautiful dog. Don't worry. We will cut back into it in just a second, just to give him some time.
I'm here.
There you go. Wow, that was quick. Oh my god.
Yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I was on rappel on the side of a building, and there was like an object next to me, not that big. Probably like an air vent or something.
Oh, okay.
And there was someone outside, but the sound for it is really muffled. It was loud, but really muffled.
I don't get that.
So
that's the weird thing.
Yeah, it was very odd. So I think there are discrepancies with it, but obviously it's a beta, so we need to accept that there will be issues with it. Yeah, I'll just have to see in the live build.
Yeah, I
what
mean,
it's like and how helpful it is.
My experience was, like I said, I could definitely see the muffled aspect of like the guns sounded a little bit more, I'd say, quieter than I expected, and I'm using hi-fi on both modes, and I prefer using hi-fi. But like when I was on the live server, what we're currently playing now, it's very blown out, it's very big, it's like loud as a gunshot should be, whereas this is a little bit more contained, but I can definitely tell that was a bit different. But everything else, like when it came to footsteps, when it came to shooting from an indoors and outdoors, everything was so clear to me, and I was just a bit like, oh shit. I don't know if I could go away from it personally. It's been a bit of a time to adjust, but I could actually, and again, I want to see how they translate that into the live build when the CJX comes out, which comes out June 10th. So stay tuned for that. But for me, I could track people properly, and if I died, I knew why I died, and I was like, okay, I could hear him, and I was stupid to not shoot him. It was completely clear to me. But I can understand some people have their own problems. It's a beta. I'm hoping that the majority of people won't have this problem when it comes to launch. We'll have to wait and see. And also, how does it play into the ranked map pool? But moving on to dual front.
My question to you.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, before we move on, what did you actually think of dual front though? Like, what the game mode like? How did it play out?
I like it. It's. I didn't think I'd like it. I thought it was just going to be a tacked on mode, and it was interesting because I looked at some people on YouTube that said, no one asked for this. Why are we getting it? And I thought, yeah, I get that. I'm going to give it a chance because why not? It looks interesting. But when I was watching it, I was a little bored because I didn't know what the fuck's going on. Playing it was actually pretty good. I actually quite like the pacing. And the funny thing is, we all said this. Like, I thought it was going to be like a Battlefield style game. You and Sid said it was going to be like a Call of Duty style game. It does not play like that at all. If you know how to play it properly, it does not play like Call of Duty. It plays still like Siege, but there's an extra layer of strategy. And it's having that 6 people together. It's really, really good. It's really good.
It's definitely interesting. Yeah.
I think it should be a ranked mode of this at some point. Full stop. I think there should be a ranked mode of dual front. See, he knows. I
mean, you stole what I said. I said that.
Sorry. No, I'll shut up now. You say.
Yeah, no. Myself, I found it was really fun as well. Yeah, as you said, when I was watching, I was like, this is going to be very COD-like. And I was like, already picturing all the sort of like fraggers are going to be moving over to dual front just to play that instead of like normal Siege ranked, because as you know, Siege ranked, it's a lot slower pace as compared to this dual front. It's maybe not a lot faster, but it is faster.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got respawns and whatnot. The respawn timer is quite long, so there's that. But yeah, it wasn't COD-like at all. Yeah, obviously, it's a bit TDM-y in the way that you are having, fights, a team deathmatch sort of thing. But the main focus is playing the objective. If you don't play the objective, you're going to lose. So that's a good thing with it. And I found myself when I saw that there was drones in this mode, I was like, how useless is that going to be?
Yeah, same.
But actually playing it, it's like, okay, no, it's pretty good actually, because obviously there are meant to be people holding the defensive objective. So it's good to just send a little drone in quickly. And another good thing with this as well, when you die, you can play as the drone.
Oh yeah, that's such a good idea. I really like
Yeah.
that. It was something that they did in the test server that didn't make sense in ranked, but makes so much sense in this mode. A lot of this stuff makes so much sense. I will say, to address some of the things that people in the community have said, personally, hit reg, perfect. I've had no problems with it. I've played it numerous times and I felt hit reg was fine. There is something that I've learned. So, you know that when you shoot someone in the head, it typically kills them, but instead in this mode, it goes down but not out.
Yeah.
So people complain saying that there's they feel like they're putting too many bullets into someone. But there's back in the old day of Siege, there was an invulnerability that you get when you go into a down but not out state. So you had to basically get into the right like pose before you could take bullets. They've implemented that into Dual Front. So you don't die straight away. You wait like 2 seconds in the down but not out state, then you shoot them and then they're dead.
Okay. I was wondering what that was actually, because yeah, they do kind of sponge it a little bit.
Yeah, that's the invulnerability. Yeah. But other than that, like I've really enjoyed it and I feel like it's very well paced. It's very nicely done. I like the assignment as well that you get. That happens roughly like halfway through the game. And that basically, say for example, like you're a little bit behind. And you need to catch up. Just do the assignment. It gets you 2 sectors or 2 sections of the circle.
I thought it was 1.
No, it's 2. 2 sections of the circle of your objective. So say they're about to complete theirs, but you are like 1/3 done. You can then
you'll have to explain. Yeah, with each objective, there's 3 different sort of sections for it.
Yeah,
it's like a little timer thing.
So you plant, So essentially, you plant the diffuser down, and you have to wait until all 3 sections of the circle fill out for you to take over that area. And once you take it, they can't take it back. They basically get pushed back to their next defending point, and then for you, it's vice versa. You go attack that other playing point.
You push up to their point. Yeah, it's like that Battlefield game. What was it, Rush or something?
Rush, yeah. It's kind of like Rush. And if you take the assignment, you get a slight extra advantage in gaining sectors, and say you take 2 sectors and then you get the assignment, it gives you a slight head start in the next objective that you got to go and take. So it's really, really cool mechanics. I really like it a lot, and it can mean, like, for example, like when we saw Kudos' team that won against Spoit's team, that basically what they did was they were basically pushing for the assignment because they were on the last objective. They knew if they got the assignment, they win the game. So that was their priority.
Yeah, and Fast Ann, who I believe was part of that team, was she?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, she tweeted the next day saying, we won every single one of our dual front game modes. This is how you can win yours, sort of thing. And yeah, her main points were just play objective.
Play the objective. You can't play TDM.
Yeah.
Which I love. I love that idea that you shouldn't be playing TDM. It keeps to the value of Siege a lot. But before we move on to some of the other things that I want to talk about, which is more in depth for the visuals and we talked about destructible ingredients a bit, but the visual overhaul, the sound overhaul, the big guns that he's going to show off. There is something I want to ask. Performance. This is the one thing I'm a bit concerned with. So for me, I usually get about 300 to 360 FPS in a map. It gets cut to a half. However, it's been buttery smooth. So I've not had any hitching. The frame time has been perfect. It's just a smooth experience, but it's around 160 to 140 FPS. Have you had the same thing? And if so, what are your thoughts?
I'm not the same as you.
Ooh.
No, in the way that I don't really notice performance.
Okay.
Unless it spikes.
Okay.
So yeah, playing dual front, I've not really noticed anything different about it. Maybe no, I don't think I have. Even having to think about it, you should just know off the bat if you've noticed performance issues. But yeah, I don't think I have.
That's good.
1 point though, all my graphics are on low. and that's how I always play.
Yeah, same here.
So yeah, nothing with me.
Okay,
So.
that's good to know. I haven't. I have heard that some people managed to, before the UB patched it, use the launch commands to basically play some of the ranked maps that were remastered, and the FPS is like only 10 frames better. So we are going to see potentially, unless again this is a beta, so I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, but there could be a chance that we're going into CGX and we're playing Club, we're playing Border, we're playing all the maps, and it's going to be around. Like, could be lower than what people expect to have.
For a lot of people, that can be quite detrimental, though. I think I said that properly. Where, maybe they are running lower end computers, because obviously I've got 3070 Ti, you've got a 40 something or other.
Yeah, 40 something.
But yeah, people are still using like 1080s and whatnot. That can be quite bad news for them. Yeah. So I'm hoping that they have got some sort of optimization in plan for the live build, where it is still beta. We're months away from release, so just got to keep that in mind. So yeah, hopefully they do optimize it, because I can't imagine they've completely upgraded the graphics with these amazing looking textures. They look really nice, better lighting. You've got that live shadow as well now on your player.
Yeah.
I can't imagine they introduced all this and thought, it'll run fine.
Well, that's actually a good segue into the graphics. I mean, just seeing like our reaction when we saw the maps being redone. Oh my god, I am blown away with how it looks. But I've got no other words to say but wow.
It's definitely brings old Siege vibes back, like year one sort of vibes. You know how dark Cafe used to look?
Oh, dude, the marble walling, man. When you go down main stairs or brown stairs. Dude, it looks so nice, and it gives a nice vibe and atmosphere. I love it.
Yeah. Whenever I think of like old Siege, I'm thinking of like old Club, old Oregon, old Cafe. It was so dark, but atmospheric. It was this lighting, man. Doing my head in.
Yeah, old Clubhouse definitely was that as well for me. Seeing Clubhouse go from, like, the funny thing is, I looked at a Border comparison, and Border, like, in the live server now looks so dull compared to how Border looks like in the new CGX engine. It just looks so much full of life. Like, say for example, we're going in Office. It's just like plain. It's just like there's no sun, there's no shadows. It's just plain, right? When you go into it now, there's beautiful lighting coming through. When you look up at the top, it's very distinctive sunshine that's just blazing it through. It gives it more vibes. It gives everything a bit more atmosphere. And the textures on the walls as well just feel a lot more grimy, a lot more disgusting. Like, this is a rundown area.
Cracks and bricks and like the wooden planks on the floor. You can see all the sort of details in that. It does look really good.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? No, I can't remember. Carry on.
I was going to say, one of the things that will be disappointing is we got 5 maps like this, but then we're going to jump to Oregon, Skyscraper, the other maps that will not have been touched yet, and it's going to be very jarring to a degree to go from a map that looks so gorgeous to this.
There's going to be a really tough contrast between the two, going from a really nice looking map. Do you think when it comes to actually?
No, go
Ignore
on.
that.
No, wait. What was you going to say? I'm very curious now.
I was going to bring it up later, but all right, I'll talk about it now.
Okay.
Are map bans still a thing?
Oh, I don't know. I think they probably will be, though.
Because, we'll talk about this later, but there's a new ban system. So, I'm not sure if bans are still a thing, but do you think people are going to lean more towards the nicer looking maps?
I think they're going to lean towards maps they're comfortable with.
That's what I think. Yeah, because again, if we talk about optimization, maybe the older maps are going to run better. So people are going to ban the newer maps.
Exactly. We'll have to see once it launches. I don't know why UB have only decided to do 5. I'm not a game developer, nor do I know how they brought this. Because the only way I can think that they could have done this is that they had to rebuild the maps from the ground up because the code couldn't translate properly, or
I reckon
assets didn't
if it's not starting from scratch, I think they just have to replace the textures with every single like wall, floor, ceiling.
and
I reckon that is
optimizing
quite
it.
tedious.
Yeah, and optimizing it as well. So there's a lot of tedious work.
So yeah, it's doing all the lighting and shadows for each room as well. It's definitely a lot of work.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've done it from ground up. Maybe they did.
If they did, fair play. Like, that's a lot of work. But if they didn't, then it's still tedious work to do. But I'm very curious as to why it goes like that. But for me, I'm looking forward to these new maps. My most excited map, actually, is probably Clubhouse, considering, like, how it looks like in some areas. Like, if you go to Bar, how the lighting's going to look as well. Garage is going to look so nice. That's probably the map I'm most excited to see remastered. Funny enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chalet looks nice as well, though.
Oh, yeah. Chalet. Oh, okay. That's my second favourite. That's my second
Looks very
favourite.
cozy.
It looks
warm.
old Siege. And, like, they've done that with the UI as well, feeling like old Siege. Because it used to be the text had this, like, unique look back in the day. They brought it back now to be a bit more...
Back in there.
Back into year one style, where it's just bold and in your face. I like that.
But yeah, with these new graphical changes, they also introduced a live shadow with your player.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, looking down on the floor, and you're moving about, you have this constant shadow, and it changes the direction depending on where the light is coming from. So, yeah, the devs gave a little warning, said you need to be careful now where you're sort of positioning, because your shadow can reveal where you are.
But it's also good because we don't typically see our shadows in the game at the moment. So now you can actually see where your shadow is and actually use that to hide and not give away where your position is, which is
nice. There are rare cases of it being used in live build now. So like Garage, Clubhouse. If you're playing that Garage door, people on rafters can see your shadow like before you peek them. So, there are cases of it already existing, but I think this is going to be a more constant sort of thing throughout the map, inside the map and out. So
I think this is going to be, if you want to affect light sources, this is something I found on Twitter. You can affect light sources that are coming from the outside, but anything that's coming from the inside, like actual light tube, like say, for example, you're downstairs in Border and you want to cover up like one of the lights. You can't exactly like block it because obviously that would take a lot of performance to rework every lighting to be exactly real time. But
RTX,
it would just be a massive performance decrease. Whereas I think they've done the smart choice where a good chunk of it, which is still going to matter in the gameplay, can be affected. So you can block, for example, certain shadows with his army barricades, so you don't give away your position as easily, which I quite like.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Again, I really want to see... Whenever we see these new features, it's like I just want to see them in actual games.
So do I. I really just want to.
You don't know how useful, how like OP, how bad like they're going to be.
Yeah, like everything we got right now, we're playing through the Dual Front, which I think at the end of the day, it's a great mode, but it's not the mode that is Siege at the end of the day. Siege as a game is a 5v5 tactical shooter, first and foremost. And everything that's in that game is going to be more important than what's in, say, Dual Front, for example. So, for me, the visual looks great, but I want to see how it actually applies in a competitive setting. And I think that's what I'll end it on that one when it comes to that subject. Moving on. Going on to other things that we may be excited about in Siege. So we talked about the structural ingredients. We've talked about the visual differences. I think we touched on audio, if I'm correct.
A little bit, yeah.
I think we can just conclude on that saying, if they get this right, it should be fantastic. And then we've also talked about, I think, the style of the game where it's going forward. Now, before we finish off with what we've been told with Siege X, there's a few things. So one of them's the weapon inspect. Like I said, it's nice to have for content creators. And also just to see, oh my God, you look like an angel.
His son keeps flashbanging me.
Yeah, this is why I'm lucky where I'm at. But also, I think there was one more thing that I may have missed. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. That was... Oh yes, the pick and ban system.
Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
So the pick and ban system. This is one thing I was a bit shocked that they didn't talk about, except when they showcased the 5v5 mode. Like, they didn't do a whole section on it because it's one of the most important things in the game. So typically in ranked and in competitive siege, you start the game off and you ban 4 operators. So the defender bans 1, the attacker bans 2, and then the defender bans 1. So it's attacker, defender as the operators that you're allowed to ban, and then the game proceeds. Now it's 1 ban every single round. So the defenders get to ban an attacker, and the attackers get to ban a defender, and then the round starts with you doing your prep phase. Well, selecting where you're gonna go, who you're gonna pick, and then it's the prep phase. And then once the round ends, you ban another character, and then you do everything again, and it resets when you switch sides.
Yeah. So at the start of each round, you'll be banning an opposing
character
operator.
Yeah. Yes.
So if you're defending, you'll be banning an attacker.
Yep.
And then another attacker. Then another attacker.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's how that's going to work. And I believe that is an excellent change.
I think that's a fantastic change because I think what it's going to do is, I will be very honest, I think this is going to help the meta a lot, because I will say in the ranked meta, it's starting to get a little stale because the bans are becoming get rid of shields instead of being reactive and planning what you want to do. And I think in competitive, it's going to be a lot better because now it's going to allow teams to hide strat. So let's say for us in the ranked example, as for the majority of players, right? A lot of times I see Blackbeard get banned, Fenrir get banned, sometimes Jackal get banned, Dokkaebi getting banned, and say, for example, Mira getting banned. That's great. That's typically what I always see happening, and, the rounds will usually play out the same a lot of the time because everyone follows the same strat. Now what we're going to see is, say, for example, we want to defend, say you and I are on attack, yeah? Okay, I don't want to deal with hatches, and I want to make sure we can get a good chance of getting the hatches. Ban Cade off the bat. Start with that. So now, whenever they want to pick downstairs, throughout the entire half, as your first pick, they can't get the hatches. So then they now have to force to use the bandit tricking, if they're going to go for the walls, or they're going to use mute, for example. But say along the way, you start noticing, they're playing quite Roma heavy. For example, they might be playing Elysian. Ban him in one round. Just ban him. Move on to your next thing, but then the opponents can do the same thing. They notice certain things like, we want to have more safety when going for these breaches, going for the top 4 defense. Let's ban Ram or ban Sledge or Buck. So you're going to see more reactive bans that are going to spice up the gameplay a lot more, in my opinion.
How I look at it is the ban system we have now is like you're banning 2 operators for the map, like the entire map.
Yeah.
You're sort of generalizing it. Now it's going to be for the site specifically.
Yeah, that's exactly.
So you got this is where it gets interesting because it's like the default sites people are going to choose because that's just how everyone plays Siege. You start the general sort of idea is you start top floor and you go down to basement or whatever. But yeah, now it's like you're banning an operator for that site. So it's like, I don't know, Canal. They're going to go main breach. That's just what everyone does.
Yeah.
So then you ban operators specific to that breach play. And then you're going to go down to the basement. And it's like, all right, so now they're going to do vertical. Let's ban Ram or whoever else. And then, the next site will be something different. So, it's just sort of playing these sites, going into it, thinking, we need to ban the operator for this push.
Yeah.
But then, again, being reactive, it's like, they played a Blackbeard quite a lot. Let's get rid of him because that's just too much pressure. And it just goes for any operator on any site. If you're noticing they're sort of, using it quite a lot and it's effective for them, then you can get rid of it in the next round. I think it's going to be interesting because then it forces you, if you're getting target banned, it's forcing you to play differently as well. It's forcing you to adapt. So it's going to be interesting.
This-
I'm looking forward to it.
Ban system is very similar to the attrition game mode, and I think that's what made that game mode so special, is that you were forced to adapt. So if you lose your operator by dying in the round, you now have to adapt, and it's the same thing with what they're doing here. So now you have to be very comfortable with what operators you're going to be playing, and at the end of the day, with the shield meta getting more and more, you're going to realize some people are going to end up tricking shields and are not going to be able to play it properly, and you can exploit that. Or say, for example, people are going to utilize certain utility. You take that out of the way, they'll crumble a lot because they don't have the ability to use, say, for example, a mirror window on this one, because we know it's more stronger on this site than another site.
Yeah.
So now it
What
opens
I
up
was
more.
going to say as well, sorry to interrupt.
That's all right.
Just before it slips my mind anyway, is just with like how I was explaining, you're sort of picking per site. Do you think there's going to be like an element of choosing different sites now instead of following the norm
I think
of
I think it's going to go down to more people are going to have new ways to defend a certain site, because I don't think people will try. I think I would love to see that personally. I would love to see people try different sites. For example, the one that comes prominently to mind for me is Clubhouse stage, storage and bar. That's a very hard site to pull off, but it can be done.
not necessarily the hardest sites though. I'm thinking they're going to ban for a site they think you're going to go. Like if you're a defender,
Oh yeah.
the attackers are going to ban defending operators for a site they think you're going.
Okay.
What if, like, let's say Oregon,
Mhm.
obviously the norm is to go dorms,
Mhm.
yeah? And they're going to ban, I don't know, an operator specific to that. Could be mute. Mute's really
Mute's good.
in that
I would
site.
say, like, for attackers, Capital would also be good to get coverage.
Yeah. So instead of going that site as a defender, because you know they're going to try and target one of the operators that follows that sort of standard setup for that site, you go to laundry instead. So you start in laundry. So then you have the full roster
That you're comfortable
without
with.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that could be very interesting. Like, you can make a band specific to what you want to do, but they make a band specific to what they think you're going to do. It's the mind games aspect of it. And that's what I think at the top level of Siege, I think in the 1% of ranked, or I'd say the 5% of ranked, going into competitive play, we're going to see a lot of that kind of mind game aspect be played. I think for regular people that play Siege, that's like gold, silver, getting into plat, it's not going to be that. It's going to be more reactive. Like, they're going to just play what they want to play. But when we start getting into champ rank, but also going into competitive Siege and Siege Cup, you're going to see people really utilize the mind game aspect of it. And I think you're right. I think people will do something like that, because then
Switch up the sites.
exactly,
Yeah.
and then it's going to throw them off, and it's going to add another layer of complexity to the game that makes it so intriguing to play, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've spoke about that a fair bit. I mean,
I love it.
that's probably a feature I'm more excited for.
Same. But I will say this, though, before we talk about like maybe our concerns for coming into CGX.
Yeah.
I would like to say for people, and I'm going to say this as a
Yeah.
theory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think what we're getting from CGX is the only bits. So in terms of, like, people are thinking, oh, we're just going to get CGX and the season's done. I think there's more under the hood that we're going to get for this next season. So
What do you mean by that?
I think we might get a Clash rework.
Oh my god!
I'm genuinely thinking, because I didn't see her in the beta of operators. So in the closed beta, you
Yeah.
can see all the operators. She's not there.
Where's she gone?
She could be on vacation for all we know.
She's fired from Rainbow Six. Hopefully,
I hope not. She deserves a
hopefully
second
they've just
chance.
taken her out back and
Wow. No, I think we got some
look at
other
the flowers.
I think we got some extra features that they're going to talk about, but they're gonna hold their guns, and we're gonna have because I think, truth be told, if this was all we were getting this season, I'd be all right with it, because there's a lot of massive changes that are coming to the game. But with the extra stuff,
Yeah, at the sacrifice of obviously season 1
yeah,
being quite sort of dull.
dull. It's very dull, but we knew why we were coming into it.
Yeah, that's fine.
coming into, I think this season is going to be very. The only reason I think this way is because I think that Siege X was meant to launch this season to kind of like push people, and then the next season was going to be like the next season, and then blah blah blah. But you could like, I felt like just the way the season has handled. So, year 10 season 1 prep phase, it's literally was meant to be like Siege X, and we were like all getting ready to get used to the game, blah blah blah, and then season 2 would be the start. I think season 2 is going to be, I'm hoping, fucking huge. Like, already this is huge enough, but there's going to be more shit that we're going to get in the next season.
100%, 100,000,000%. We don't play Siege X on the day it comes out.
So knowing our luck, we probably won't.
No, honestly, I bet my life savings.
That I would laugh if we do end up playing it, and then I'll be like, so what about your life savings then, mate? Can I have it now?
Okay, here's a bet.
Go on.
If the servers are fine on the day of season 2 being released, and people can get into a game and invite their mates into a party and whatnot, and it's fine.
Okay.
There's no crashing. There's no disconnecting. Nothing. It's a smooth launch. The best Rainbow Six launch ever, but there's no problems. I'll accept like a few minor ones, bugs, fine, that's normal. But the fact that every season that comes out, we can't play it on the first day. The first day we can't play it.
No, that's
we have to wait until day 2 or day 3, where the server issues sort of iron out and we can actually get into a game and invite each other. So here we are. Season 2, if it's released fine, what will I do?
What will you do? I'm very curious as to now what you're going
I'll
to do.
run 10 kilometers. There we are.
Okay.
I'll do a 10k.
All right. That's a good punishment for it.
You know what? I've actually evolved as a person there, because I was thinking I'm going to down some sort of alcoholic beverage,
But
like a few beers, but no, I'm going to run.
I like that. That's a really wholesome punishment in a way. I like that.
Cut this bit out. I'll be downing a few beers.
Okay, sure. I will say though, I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be massive issues. It's just Siege at the end of the day. So I have a feeling you will be, unfortunately, right on the mark with Siege X being a terrible launch. I hope it isn't, for the game's sake, because it will have a very bad start to a new era. But, that's just not I think the main concerns that I have with Siege X coming out is just the performance and just making sure everything runs fine. Because everything else, there's very little concerns I have at the moment. It's just everything that I kind of wanted the game to go to, and it's being met.
Yeah.
I have no other concerns at the moment except performance, and the performance aspect, I think we'll get.
No quarrels, no qualms.
Yeah, so I think that's that. I think we mentioned a lot of things in this, a couple of things that I didn't mention in the showcase that we noticed in the beta. So for those that are coming in, they've now added a couple of more color options into your reticle design. So you now get in between to different colors. I got neon green now. It's quite nice. I got a nice.
Didn't
neon
notice
green.
that.
It's quite nice. I like it. I thought that was actually in the main game. Turns out it wasn't. I was like, oh, well, that's nice. I like neon green. There's also the sound effect for when you get stunned. You can now change it from the ringing sound effect to either be fully muted or a nice little wave sound.
Crashing waves.
Yeah. Crash. Just a beautiful sound.
Do you want to tell everyone what you called it the first time you saw it?
No, I'm not going to do it.
Tintinitis. Tintinitis?
It's tinnitus, but I said a tinnitus.
Oh, guys, you can change the tintinitis sound for flashbangs now. All right, cheers, Sean. Tintinitis.
Shut up. Honestly, shut up. I think you're just taking the piss now. Anyway, I think we're almost at the end of what we wanted to discuss. I think the only other thing is, what would you expect coming out of the year 10 roadmap that will be coming out in May? What would you predict will be coming out? Or be announced?
It's probably the hardest question ever on the face of the earth, because the way Ubisoft do things, it's just so like back and forth. Like they go through these weird stages where they want to do something, and then sometimes they go through with it and do it. Sometimes it's delayed by like years. Like look at Siege Cup.
Yeah,
it's just hard to predict. Like the roadmap for year 10. It's like what will come, what will get delayed. I don't know.
What
and
would
with that,
you like?
I refuse to answer.
Oh, what would you like? Well, just one thing would you like for them to add into the game or change?
I've got one thing that comes to mind, and that is a frequent, easy to join Siege Cup.
Yes.
And we spoke about this before, and we've probably said this so many times. We spoke about this before. It's just our catchphrase at this point. But yeah, a Siege Cup that maybe happens a couple of times a week.
Yeah.
Or just at reasonable times as well, where you can join. And maybe like a little notification. When you're in a game, you have a little pop-up, which you can turn off in the settings if you want, if you don't care about it. A little pop-up top right that says, Siege Cup starting in 10 minutes.
Yeah, because the only notification you get is you have to know the time from Twitter, and then when you're in the main menu, that's it. That's the only notification. So I think they should definitely do that. I think for me, one thing I would like, because I was thinking about predictions, and the only thing I can predict in my mind is that we're going to get another Keres Legion operator. Because they're really, Phobos from the
it's definitely going to be that Phobos.
Yeah, I think we're going to get him in one season.
He got too much screen, or she.
I think it's a he. I think it's a he.
Okay, yeah. Got quite a bit of screen time in that cinematic trailer. So yeah, it's gonna be Phobos.
I think we're gonna. That's the only prediction I can make. But the one thing I would like, and this is a bit of a stretch. There's actually two things. So one would be what you just said, literally the Siege Cup. So I'm not gonna take that. But my actual one would be more customizations in the custom lobby, so that you can make the mode that you want to play.
Oh, that is really good. Yeah.
So I want us to get more options to have it so that we can set up similar to like a Halloween event, maybe a one of the events that we got from the previous, and let us just mess around, really get to grips with what we can do. Because we played Sledgemayers back in the day. That was a lot of fun, but the problem was we had to make our rules with each other. We couldn't set the parameters in the game. I would love for that to happen, where the attackers could only be allowed to use a sledgehammer, and then the defenders have a certain HUD display set up. That would be so cool if we did that.
I think forcing those settings, that is such a good idea, because it reminds me of Halo. Remember Halo back in the day? You do custom games. So many like customization options in Halo, where you could have like unlimited ammo and whatnot. That would be sick. Like imagine just forcing, everyone's got to play Kali.
Yeah. I think
unlimited ammo, no reload.
Dude, you're getting me.
It's just little things like that. It's like disabled traps.
Bring back
maybe
Golden
for
Gun.
A game.
Bring back a Golden Gun style that's custom game. Like you have so many ideas that the community can go haywire with, and then Ubisoft can just go onto Twitter. And then here's the cool thing that you can do: take those ideas, implement them into events, shout out the people that created it, so then you get community involvement, and then you keep pressing for these things. The more you give the community access to do game modes and give them the ability to create whatever they want, your game's going to do much better for it.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
And then like maybe a sort of UI to a discovery tab to look through people's own made game modes.
Yes.
And then you can use those. So like you could have like custom made drills where you can place operators at certain points of the map. You can make them like jiggle peak, move in one direction, create these paths for them. I'm thinking maybe a bit too in depth for this, but like custom drills.
Yeah.
For you to go follow.
And then that's onboarding.
Player made custom drills.
And then that helps with onboarding. Like,
yeah.
Please, Ubi, give us more freedom with the customization of the custom games.
One thing with that is it's going to take a load of pressure off them
Yes.
to make drills and onboarding as well.
You give it to
Just leave it into the hands of the community because, again, we're going to know the common sort of spots and like angles and peaks and whatnot.
Exactly. It gives UB the chance to just relax, focus on what they need to do, and let the community do what they need to do.
Yes, indeed. I believe we should wrap this up because it's a tremendous day. What am I saying? It's been a really good episode.
It's been a very good episode, yeah. It's been very focused on Siege. For once, we've not talked about our personal life, but we will be probably the next episode.
Yeah, just a little thing on that. If you are still watching to this point, congrats. You're
a legend.
A freak. Oh, two different.
No, the freak's just a bad connotation. I call them legends.
Legends, I call you freaks because you've just watched an hour of two randoms talking about a game you play.
Yeah.
Isn't that so bizarre? What are you doing? Like, what are you still doing here?
Just
turn this off.
No, but before you turn it off, we just want to say thank you for spending an hour.
No, thank you.
We appreciate that, and also just two people that love the game, and also just shoot your Sorry, gonna have to blur that now. But just like to talk, and yeah, I really appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say something at the end. What was I gonna say?
Oh God, you always forget what you're gonna say.
It's really bad. Getting a bit concerned about it now.
This is getting a bit concerning.
Give me a sec. That was it. With some episodes, yeah, we do talk about our personal lives. I'm sorry if that doesn't appeal to you, but there are some weeks where there is nothing going on with Siege. Correct. There's like one change, and it's like we can't talk about that for an hour.
Yeah.
Sometimes it will spark a convo that can last longer than others, but again, that's not guaranteed. So we got to fill out the episode with something else.
Yeah.
And we don't really mind talking about personal stuff.
Yeah.
So
I think the nicest one we talked about before we're wrapping this up is just like the stuff we do for football. Again, Ronov here has another channel that he uses, that showcases some of the stuff that he does when in regards to like his everyday life, which is mainly at the moment football. So yeah, it's just stuff that we enjoy talking about, and if you like that sort of stuff, we really appreciate that. If you're not, we totally understand that. But at the end of the day, we try and do the best we can with certain Siege news. We're just very happy that there's a lot to talk about at the moment.
Right now.
Goddamn now.
Yeah, anyway, thank you for joining us today. It's been a delight to have you here.
It's been beautiful.
And with that, enjoy the rest of your week.
Talio, my friends. Talio.